There are times in every guitar player's life when you just can't play your instruments for extended periods of time. It could be because you're traveling, or you got hurt, or you're recovering from surgery. I used to try to keep a good attitude and think of ways to make the best of a difficult situation. But over the years, I've come to look at it in a little different way, along with other aspects of my life. What I've come to see is that sometimes a change can either make you look at things differently or do different things, and it can be a benefit. There are two aspects of playing guitar. There's that physical aspect, which of course is probably what we mostly focus on when we're practicing, getting things faster, cleaner, better technique, learning new chords and scales and melodies. And there's also the mental and I'll say / emotional, because I can't come up with a better word. The mental, of course, is understanding what you're doing and how it all fits together. But there's also this kind of emotional or creative aspect that allows you to make good judgment calls on what sounds good and how to make it sound good with all the subtleties. The second aspect is where I think the biggest opportunity is when you can't play your guitar. One way to look at it is there's an opportunity to make some focused, maybe even considerable progress in that mental, emotional area. I have 3 main categories that I want to cover that I think will hopefully inspire you. It's not meant to be an exhaustive list. In fact, what I'm hoping it'll do is kind of trigger some ideas for you. Everybody's a little different, and you may come up with some ideas that are just the right thing for you. With that, let's do this. My first suggestion is to watch videos, and I mean heck of videos. Now, the first, most obvious place is to watch music theory videos, particularly if you can find some that are oriented towards guitar players. In fact, I think a lot of times you can make more progress with understanding theory if you don't have your instrument and really can just focus on the ideas. Hey, if it doesn't make perfect sense the first time, watch it again. And if it's still not there, watch it again. You'll find sometimes when you watch several videos that the pieces start coming together. Now, maybe a little less obvious, watch lesson videos. Yeah, you can't actually do it, but you'll be surprised how much you can actually integrate in your mind without actually having to do it physically. You can make even more use of this by imagining yourself actually doing what it says in the video. And if it creates a little tension, like you're kind of anxious to try this out, well, that's good. That energy will really give you some motivation when you get a chance to get back with your instrument. It's also a good time to kind of watch a bunch of instruction videos and decide where you want to spend more time. You might find, 2/3 of them, that's not very interesting. But these, I really want to get to at my guitar. Okay, and then there's a third category that I have gotten tremendous use out of. Watch people play. And I'm talking all the way from teachers through, your favorite artists. And when I say watch them play, I really mean mostly listen and really pay attention, more than you ever would if you were actually thinking you're going to actually play it on your guitar. And of course, we always narrow it down to some little bit that we think we can actually do when we're planning on doing it on the guitar. But this time, that's not an issue. Just listen. Listen to how the song connects. Listen to the subtleties in the notes. Listen to when he bends. Listen to when they don't bend. Listen to when the singer leaves breathing spots in the vocals and lets the guitar shine through. Listen to the groove and tap your foot. Find the groove with every song and see if you can, first of all, just find the basic beat and then the subdivisions. When you listen to music for extended periods of time with focused attention, you'll be surprised at how much it actually educates your practice and your playing. Okay, so you can't play your guitar? This is a great time to get fretboard knowledge. I mean, really learn where the notes are on the fretboard. Or you're saying, well, I don't have my guitar. How can I figure out where the notes are? Well, you do it on paper. And the idea is to get a clear mental image in your mind where all the notes are. I heard the popular guitar instructor Justin Sandico talk about his days when he was doing a long commute on a train. I think he said an hour and a half. And he would take that time on the train ride to actually write down the notes on the fretboard. Now, what he would do is draw 6 lines on paper and then try to remember where each of the notes were on the fretboard and write them down until he had the entire paper covered. So he said he started with just finding one note, E, and find it in all the different places. Then the next note, A, and so on. I thought this was a great practice. He said he found it a very powerful experience. And I know from my experience that it really gives you a whole nother another level of confidence about being able to get around the guitar and learning new things. I'll add my own take on this. What I would do is after doing that once, then go ahead and start over with another drawing of a guitar neck, but try a little different approach. Come at it different ways. Little by little, it'll help you kind of connect all the dots on the guitar fretboard, and it'll just be clear in your mind. Now, you can write 6 lines and call that a guitar fretboard. You can also use a sheet with a basic drawing of a guitar fretboard on the sheet and write the notes. Wherever you're watching this, just head on down below the video and I'll put a link in there. Now, if I had to pick one area that I think had the most possibility, it's the area of visualizing what you're doing on the guitar fretboard in your mind. And this is something that can help you throughout your playing, regardless of whether or not you have your instrument. But it's a great time to practice when you don't. Now, this idea is used extensively with athletes. I'm sure you've heard of famous sport players practicing mentally, seeing themselves doing something perfectly, and then it improves their whole performance. This might seem difficult if you've never tried it, but it's the kind of thing you just do it a little at a time and you get better at it. And I'm not talking about seeing things perfectly in your mind. People have different temperaments for that and actually natural abilities. You don't have to see things clearly. The effort is what produces the result, not necessarily seeing yourself playing perfectly in your mind. And when I say seeing, I really should include hearing in that process. So a simple way to get started is to take a scale, something that you already know, and imagine yourself playing it one note at a time on the guitar neck. Try and actually hear each of the notes as you go along. Go up the scale and back down the scale. I'm kind of doing that right now with the G scale, G major. Now, if you find that fairly easy, the next step is to try it with a scale you don't know. So what you do is you get it in writing first. Put the book or the piece of paper down and look at the notes. And then close your eyes and imagine playing the notes on the guitar. If you can't quite get that next note, you look at the paper. Oh yeah, now you imagine it again, need some more help, go back and forth, and you keep doing that until you can do it without looking at the paper. This really is very powerful. And again, it's not the thing you either get it or you don't. You just keep working at it little by little. Some of the best music I think I've ever created, I like to compose music, is music that I actually saw myself playing or heard it in my mind before I ever touched my instrument. And it gave me a certain kind of freedom because when I'm on the instrument, I have to think of a lot of things, including, am I playing that note right? Is it buzzing? Where do I find that one note? In my mind, I don't have to do that. It gives me the freedom to really hear something out the way I want it. And then I go to my instrument and work it out. Maybe I don't get it the first time, but I got something I'm working towards. So I gave you an example of a scale and what you could do with that. Try this. I'll give you example number 2 with some chords. Take a common chord progression. This is where you get your most bang for your buck. And if you don't know what common chord progressions are, I'll put a link again somewhere down below. You should know that, and I want you to actually do more than a quick, brief explanation. So let's say you know what a common chord progression is. It could be as simple as 3 chords. And see in your mind yourself fingering that chord, then going to the next one, and actually watch which fingers move where, and the next one, and go through it a few times. Now, if you need to, have it down on paper and take a look and see how close you were to what you did on paper. Then go back, close your eyes, and do it again. And again, think of it like a muscle. When I first tried this, I didn't think I could get anywhere close to what I've heard. And I amaze myself sometimes at what I can work out in my head just by persistence and length of time doing it. I'm Thomas Michaud. Wherever you're watching this, scroll down and leave me a comment. Let all of us know what other ideas you have and maybe some things that have worked for you. And just a reminder, I've put a link somewhere down below where you can download a free guitar neck diagram sheet and try writing the names of the notes and getting good at it. And if you'd like some more help learning the notes on the guitar fretboard, watch this next video. I wish you the best guitar learning journey.